As with all programming languages, there's always, and the first thing you have to know is there's always a million different ways to do absolutely everything you ever want to do. So the question is, which is the best for you? Which is the best for this situation? Which is the best for my screen? And what am I comfortable with? Okay, so one of the things about PureBasic that is I personally absolutely adore. Just about every language has this in one form or another. When you have gadgets or controls, depending on how you call them, on a screen, you have events that occur with the gadget, right? So these events, we're looking for gadget events, and we know what gadget is affected, if I could spell right. So we now know what gadget is affected, and we know what the event is. Well, the event isn't the gadget. The event is what has happened to the gadget. Did they right click it? Did they left click it? Did they left double click it? Did they right double click it? Did the selection change on a gadget? Let's take example of our combo box. When the event of the combo box changes items, do we want to do something when that happens? Now, if you don't, if you left this exactly the way it is, then it doesn't matter. No matter what happens to button clear, it's going to fire code unless I look to see what the event is. So not all application generators, when you build forms and they generate your loop for you, are going to build this out. ICE Designer doesn't build this out for you. So if you're using Pure Vision, Paul builds these out. He lets you get the standard set of fare for each of the different things you may have be doing, looking for what the event might be for the gadget. If you're using Class Builder, I put a whole bunch of them in there because I tend to have a tendency to use a lot. So what we're going to want to do, and this is a great second introduction to templates. Templates is a piece of the IDE that you can put code that you get real fed up and tired of writing. Okay. So if I want to select an event of just a generic anything, okay. So I'm going to we can right click it and we can say, let's insert into code. How about that? And so here's the code that I have in there. All right. And let's come over here. And I am going to say, let's edit this guy so you can see what we're doing. I have written select event type, the case of change in the case of left click, and an end select. So when you get fed up and tired of typing these 4 lines of code for every event in your event loop, then I recommend you come over here to the templates and add a template of a select event type, right? Because that's what this is. That's a select event type. So then all you got to do is put your cursor where you want it, double click him, and poof, now you got all the code in there that you need. So now let's continue with what we're doing. So on a button, well, buttons don't change. We don't need this guy. Easy thing. We can delete it and get rid of them, right? We can get rid of that one. So in this particular application, I don't have a desire to put in an Easter egg or something ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and just say when you left click the clear button, What do we want to do? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do remember when I said set gadget state. Okay, what gadget are we playing with? We want to play with the image gadget, right? So this is going to be gadget. And this is where the naming comes in very nicely because you can find your name without having to remember really what they are. So we know it's planet, Planet. And then this is a image. Oops, I didn't name him. That's very bad of me. So we're going to do this and we're going to say 0. So, or I think you could even do image IMAGEID of 0. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see if that crashes because image ID of 0 means the image of nothing. But I think just setting it to 0 will do what we want. And you know what? Let's hit F1 and let's come over here and we have gadget state. Let's zoom it up to where it's readable and the state. So let's come down to image gadget, change the image of the gadget. Well, that's a little less than helpful, isn't it? Okay, well, it's the truth, but okay. Maybe we can jump to image gadget and let's see. So if you change the current, a valid, okay, image ID is 0, then the image is removed from the gadget. So it looks like it wants image ID of 0 to clear him. So when we load a gadget, we have to go, let's put in pseudocode, uh, find image, right? And then we're going to say uh, set image into gadget. So those are two things that we want to do there. And the way we're going to set the image into the gadget is a set gadget state, our gadget, and then we're going to do the image ID of the image that we have to load that they've selected. But right now, let's come down here to cancel, and let's go ahead and jump back over here to templates. Let's paste this code in. We don't want you. We can come into you and say, okay, remember how we close? Until this is true. So here we can come in and put you in there and say equals true. There. Now, when we left click cancel, he's going to set this to true and exit and go out. Okay, so when we left click save, well, we got to decide what we're going to do with our screens. But for the moment, we can just leave this one open. Maybe we'll write it all to an INI file. Do something like that, a text file or something. So let's now come in here and say, okay, let's go find a file. Well, how do you find a file? Well, let's come over to help. Help is actually quite helpful. See the home key up here? We can hit home key and then we have file and file system. Well, I always get these guys messed up. So yes, this is writing data to files. That's not find a, oh, you know what? I know what it is. It's going to be a requester. So we want well, save. Sometimes languages have save and load, but that's kind of irrelevant. So here's our save file. What we're going to do is use it as a load file, but that's okay. We'll start by saying, okay, let's copy all this code. And let's paste that in right here. And then we can clean it up real easily. And we bump all this over. And okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the comments. So let's see. Our standard file is going to be, I don't want you to do this. I don't even want a standard file. All right, let's get this out of our way. So what I want us to do is do a get the current directory, right? So get current directory. Okay, and yep, that's T9C, but it's there. Okay, and then I want to say plus asterisk dot PNG files. Okay, so that's what I want in standard file. So let's come over here where we're plugging in standard file, and let's put that, and then we can get rid of this. So now, what do we want a pattern? Well, I want the pattern of image file. And this is going to be, and this is the text side, so PNG. And then this side is the important side. That's the side that tells the computer that we're looking for just PNG files. And I don't believe I need any of the rest of this. So instead of loading that all into pattern and then putting pattern into this, I'm going to come over here and just put in my pattern. So there's my pattern. And now, so pattern 0, the number, this is a string, we're telling him to use 0. Well, we only have 1. And in our zero-based world that is computers, 99.9% of the time anyhow, we're going to use 0. So please choose a file to load. So how about if we say, please choose an image? Okay. So what this is going to do is say, okay, that's going to kick up the normal Windows file browser guy. And he's going to say, please choose an image to load. He already knows we're looking for PNG files. He's going to open the current directory. And whatever you choose, he's going to stick into this variable file. So let's come up and we have to define file. Now, sometimes I actually know that an error will be committed, and I'm going to leave it to be an error. And then sometimes I'm just going to not do that. So what we're going to do here is if you don't select an image, then we're not going to do anything, are we? So what are we going to do when you select an image? All right, so what we're going to want to do is say load image, right? We want to load the image. And let's see, load image. And now let's back over to there and let's hit F1. And load image is going to want to have a